want to transition in a general sense when people are sitting here listening to this, or branding, my own voice. You can't even have those two thoughts without thinking of AI. And you just said it. How do I get my own voice out? And then how do I make it something I can distribute that's still authentic to me? And there's a lot of these weird dynamics right now with AI and effectively identity cloning and those different platforms that are always emerging in different modalities and stuff that. And I know because we talked even before we started recording that this is very top of mind for you. You're really going deep in this world. And so I'd love to get your thoughts in general about the intersection of branding and AI and authenticity and technology sort of in general, but then we can talk more about how you're applying that in sort of this next frontier of your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said earlier, I feel like I could talk for 5 hours about this specifically, but I'll tell high level. So to me, I'm also kind of an optimist to my own detriment sometimes, but there's a lot happening in the world and it can feel very scary. And it's like, is it trustworthy? Is it not? And just like I said earlier with money or NLP or whatever, there's good and there's the not so good, and it can go either way and people will use it either way. Like it just is, in my perspective, that's my belief. Why don't we focus on the positive and what's to come from it? So as business owners, I think there's just such a massive opportunity right now to, even if you're not going to adopt it like I am and integrate it into the business, to utilize it on some level. And so I think the problem is a lot of people are just ditching everything else and letting AI dictate. So many people have been telling me like, oh, I use it as my therapist. I use it as that. It's writing all my messaging. It is not trained to do that. Plus, it scrapes the internet. So you could easily be using other people's IP and get yourself in a lot of trouble.
Or have it say something on your behalf that I would never say that. That's terrifying, right? And you lose that control. I think, yeah, people go all in that. And maybe you're about to say this too. The other thing I see all the time is they completely put their head in their sand, pretend it doesn't exist, and act like they could just ignore it forever, which is also never going to work.
No, I mean, it's going so quick. It's going faster than they expected it to. The landscape of where we're in now within 5 years, it's just going to be completely different. And I think that is the hard thing is like as humans, we've adapted so slowly over like so long over all the things. I mean, we had horses like how long ago? I don't know the exact math, but things are just compounding. And so it can feel so crazy. So it's up to everybody. Some people are going all in and creating things. And if that's not you, that's fine. But I definitely would tell people to at least get educated on some level. I founded an actual AI and virtual reality center in the college that I taught at because I've always been a futurist. I was a trend predictor in the corporate ages. And so like as a trend predictor in the corporate days, I don't know what I'm talking about, in the dark ages. Anyways, so I love this stuff. I geek out on it. And so I really think that it's a balance, right? Because on one way, AI is taking over. We have these fake influences that aren't even real people. So I think it's a blend of like, be more human than you ever have, like show your humanity. It's not be vulnerable for vulnerable sake and people that cry on Instagram and stuff. I'm not saying necessarily do that because that's just tacky, but like show your realness, like don't be afraid of that and utilize AI in a smart, effective way. And when you do that, I think we're going to skyrocket. The people who do that are going to skyrocket. The people who like put their head in the sand, unfortunately, it's just like people who like when the computer started and they're like, oh, I'm just not going to use that thing. I'm going to stay old school. Like I went to design school and there was designers that are like, I'm not using the computer. Well, what do you think happened, right? Or like Kodak is a great example. Like they're like, we're not going to go digital. Okay, what happens to Kodak, right? Like we're just at that state, unfortunately.
So I totally agree with all that. That it's an and, not an or. We're gonna have AI and our authentic brand, our legacy brand, a lot of the formats that you described. I think thrive in an age of AI, podcasting, partnerships, human to human connection, things that are based on building relationships first. So it's an and technology, AI, and authentic voice and brand and beliefs and values and identity and all that stuff. And so in your estimation and the work that you're actually doing for your business, how, I guess would be the question. And we're going to invite people to a wait list to actually get an insider look into how to do this well. But if you could just describe it for us, how do we create a brand in this sort of new and continuing to emerge age that we're in and heading deeper into?
Yeah, so it is the blend. Like for the past, since I've been in business for 7 years, I've helped people and guided people either like through the process one-on-one and through my group program, which is like modules and the typical business style. And that's still relevant, but people, like I said, they're kind of throwing the baby out the bathwater and just like, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT everything. And then they ended up with this kind of muddled mess. So it's still using tried and true processes, but integrating AI. So I'm actually creating what I'm calling the brand operating system right now, which takes people through my tried and true process with implementation, with the integration of AI. But it's not just ChatGPT. It's like an actual LLM that we're developing on the back end with my process through that. And I think a lot of people who are interested in that are going to go this route because it's just automates things. It helps people get them through faster. And then also as things are progressing, now websites aren't there yet. Like there are some tools where you can like hit a button, makes a website. They're awful. I'm guessing within 5 years we'll be there, and I will be on my plan is to be on the forefront of that. But for now, we created a system like that actually intakes everything for the website. So we can create websites that used to take 6 to 8 to 12 weeks, usually held up by the client because they're busy and don't have the time to get me the assets that I need, just to be completely transparent. We developed a system that takes all of that process and we can turn a beautiful website around in about 2 weeks or less. So really just helping automate the processes that can be automated and then not automating the processes that shouldn't be automated and creating what I call a complete brand operating system for people instead of like, oh, I have this here and I have this there, and what I call a Frankenstein brand where it's just all over the place into one place. So that's what we're doing in my business. And I think there's a lot of people that are saying like, oh, get my prompts. And that's great too. Like any way you can integrate it's cool. But I think where people are going to eventually come out on top is if they want to actually building LLMs and systems that are integrated, because anybody can just go to AI and start asking questions. And the thing is to not lose the background and the actual like tried and true processes. And like our websites convert, like we have award-winning websites. Like, yeah, you can push a button and get a website, but is it going to be that quality? No.
Yeah, I think if you over-index for the AI stuff, then you lose context and you lose nuance and quality and that final 5-10% that actually makes all the difference in differentiation. And if you under-index for AI, then it takes you months and way more money, and it's just not quite as good as it could be because you don't have the breadth of knowledge. It's quality and quantity sort of merge. Yeah, our application, we're not, I'd say, as advanced as you and having this new offer that you're rolling out with the Brand OS. But in our core program, the Accelerator, which is still a week by week process, we've introduce AI agents to shortcut things and to help people get clearer, faster, or write a pitch that still uses a proven framework and template and approach. Now, anyone could go to ChatGPT and say, be Dustin Riechman, because I've done a lot of interviews, right? And help me do podcast guesting. It lacks so much context and it's not personalized at all to them. It's not, they don't know the right questions in the right order to even ask things. So insight, context, is sort of this kind of identity that we talked about earlier. It may sound a little squishy or a little soft or whatever, but it's actually the most important stuff. But it matters the most when it's inside of a framework and a process that still works, right? And so that's why I think it's totally an and solution. It's AI and foundational processes and frameworks and human insight, right? So it's Tiffany's insight in it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the benefit of it. Like you have that, but then you're still available on your calls. Same with me. Like I'm always there because people are going to second guess it, or they're going to get multiple options and be like, I don't know which one. And there's still like strategy involved 100%.
Yeah, the strategy work. Yeah, that AI just won't give you in the sense that it's trying to feed you the answer you want to hear. It's not actually challenging you or digging in.
Yeah, it's not going to tell you like you have a mindset block around that you need to get through, and let's get through that. It's going to be like, oh, you're amazing, Dustin. That's the hugest thing.
That's the best question anyone's ever asked me, Dustin. Yeah, but it's also not going to cut you at your knees and bury your dreams or something. But well, this has been amazing. Where should people go from here? So if they're like, hey, I totally know I need more brand, not brand in the soft sense, but the brand that Tiffany, brand in the sense that Tiffany actually helps people with creating a legacy brand. And especially maybe this, I'm really excited about this idea of an AI augmented process, something that could make this as streamlined as possible